Because YouTube has such an irritating automated AI system that, will literally trigger off at the sound of any word that is taboo, controversial, I cannot be throwing out the word suicide, which is going to be said a lot in this video, much like the video I did on Heather's, where I kept saying soup of sides.
What you trying to say?
It's so stupid. I'm sorry. I couldn't come up with anything better, but I did. We are now going to refer to unaliving yourself as susu. I know, it sounds like a Sims character, doesn't it? A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors is a 1987 horror slasher directed by Chuck Russell in his directorial debut. With a story developed by Wes Craven and Bruce Wagner, the film stars Heather Langenkamp, Patricia Arquette, Larry Fishburne, the GOAT, Priscilla Pointer, Craig Wasson, and Robert Englund as the man of our dreams. On a $4 million budget, the film grossed a domesticated $44.8 million. Hot diggity dog. The numbers don't lie, baby. Right? They don't. We slowly but surely continue to make our way through the Elm Street saga to face off with this bald bitch Krueger. Dream Warriors was really the first of this franchise to showcase Freddy being a little more playful. Part 1 and Part 2 are very serious tonally, which is like by no means a bad thing, especially Part 2 specifically. Like, I would say that was the scariest and most menacing that Frederick has ever been. In this third picture, we follow a teen girl who's admitted to a mental hospital by her mother after trying to take her own life. She meets a group of other tortured teens who happen to share similar night terrors, so they must all team up together to not only figure out what's going on and find out who this boogeyman is, but save one of their own, with the help from the baddest, of course, Mother Nancy Thompson. Wes Craven had nothing to do with the first sequel, Part 2, Freddy's Revenge, because he didn't plan this story to spawn a franchise, but we all know how Hollywood and its movie studios are. When something makes money, we gotta milk it like a cow until it's dry. Wes's main issue with Part 2, aside of its weak script, was the audacity of the shithead writer to make Freddy Krueger appear outside of people's dreams and walk around in the real world. If you think I'm being a little harsh, watch my video on Part 2. Like, there's so much, oh boy, there's so much, even outside of just the film itself, just things that came afterward. It's so much. I also made a video about the original, so if you have not seen either one of those, watch them in order and then come back to this one. But Freddy's Revenge, which is Part 2, that one is deemed like the black sheep of this franchise, the redheaded stepchild, if you will. Freddy's Revenge outgrossed the original but was critically panned, leading production company New Line Cinemas unsure whether they wanted to continue the franchise. Wes was asked for new ideas, so he popped out with intentions to expand his original concept and write a conclusion to the series. But unfortunately, he had to give up the director's chair because of his commitment to his 1986 film, Deadly Friend. And oddly enough, Wes's Dream Warrior script was rewritten so much that a lot of the reasons and ideas that he had agreed to do the picture for were ultimately taken away. And Wes had also decided early on that, it was interesting to have this concept of a group of people to come after Freddy, because the thing is that he, in the previous films and even in this films, like the souls of the victims that he kills, like they all make him stronger. Too strong for one person alone. So the concept of a mental hospital treating the Dream Warriors was not just a riff off One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but instead inspired by real-life establishments. Around this time, there was this strange movement of places advertising on television saying things like, "Send us your child and we'll make them okay." And, spoiler, these places were like prisons or insane asylums. It's wild. This was the birth of the one-liners, the colors, okay, the effects, the camp. It's all here, baby. So let's get into it. So make sure you put in a prescription for Hypnosil, grab a pot of coffee, and hold on to that crucifix. Because tonight, we're going to visit Weston Hills Psychiatric Hospital to visit these kids and see what's going on with these nightmares.
Did she always have nightmares?
No, they've gotten worse since I took away her credit cards.
The film opens on a quote from Edgar Allan Poe about loathing slices of bread or death or something, I don't know. Before we get to our neon title card, it's past 1 a.m. and our protagonist Kristen is doing arts and crafts, looking drugged out, about to fall asleep, so she turns on some gangsta tunes. Then this girl takes a spoonful of instant coffee grounds and downs it with Diet Coke. Jesus Christ. You know, I ain't gonna lie, that's some gangsta shit right there. It's the way she's nodding off like she's on Fent. It's taking me out. Little fun fact, this actress Patricia Arquette is David Arquette's sister, aka Deputy Dewey Riley in the Scream series. So not only has Wes worked with the siblings, but he also worked with their father, Louis Arquette, who played Chief Hartley in Scream 2. Her mother Elaine, who just came back from a dinner with her man, who was also downstairs waiting for her, busts in her room telling her to turn that urban music off. And after putting Kristen in bed, K Money tells mommy that she's still having those bad dreams.
Lane, where do you keep the bourbon?
I'll be right down.
That line will come back later. Kristen falls asleep staying right at her popsicle stick Elm Street trap house, and when she wakes, her bed is outside the crib. The little white girls and boys from the hood are jumping rope singing that famous nursery rhyme we all know. Kristen has a short interaction with this girl in a yellow dress and chases after her when the gremlin rolls inside the house. Yeah, she done lost her damn mind. I would have been like, well, she's a goner. If I can't see you through the door, I'm not going in there. She finds the girl in the boiler room where apparently
this is where it takes us.
The furnace blazes up, all the pipes in the joint are blasting, so Kristen scoops this child up right after she tells her. Seeing her run through this house is crazy because it's so clearly a doll in Patricia's hands. I love it. In the hallway, Kristen's feet start getting stuck in some black goo, and we see that bald bitch hit the corner, running up on Kristen and swiping, but she gets free. The little girl in her arm is like, put me down, you're hurting me. And when Kristen looks down, it's a skelly. Kristen wakes up in a cold sweat going to the bathroom, but when she tries to turn the sink on, the sink gorilla grips her hand. The door slams, and in the mirror, we see the reflection of no other than Frederick Jamal Krueger. We meet again, you bald bitch. Knives come out the edges of the knobs, the handles rise up, and Freddy slices, but we don't see what happens until her mother bursts in the room. Yeah, Kristen, her wrist is slashed. Horizontally, though, so she'll be fine. We enter Weston Hill Psychiatric Hospital, where our final girl has been admitted, and we meet the motherfucking legend, Lawrence Fishburne, who plays a nurse named Max, alongside a Dr. Neil Gordon. Max tells Neil that he's got a theory about all the susu, saying that it's all the f***ed up chromosomes, you know, effects from parents dropping acid during the 60s. But according to Dr. Simp's theory, who is a woman that we are going to meet soon,
she thinks it's nothing but sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Shit, that's what keeps people alive.
I like how you get down, Max. You all right with me? We meet Taryn, one of the teenage patients, who Neil says looks like she hasn't slept, but she ignores him. Then we meet Jennifer, and Neil asks about the burns on her hands. She's got regular, menthol, ultralight, yeah, as in cigarette burns. We also catch Philip for a half second. Then in the quiet room is our brother Kincaid. Oh, I see. So we got the black man locked up in the quiet room. I see this. I see what's going on here. Dr. Elizabeth Sims, punk ass, comes up behind Neil saying if Kincaid continues his outburst, she'll have to isolate him permanently. I wish she would. So Neil's been reading reports on this grad school, you know, newcomer superstar who's about to join the facility. And homie's confused why, you know, they're coming up in here being treated like some seasoned pro. Dr. Sim says that the diva has been doing groundbreaking research on pattern nightmares. And Neil's like, look, grandma, I know these kids better and I don't want some hotshot taking chances with them just so she can get published. Both Neil and Sims are paged on the intercom to rush to the examination room, and when they hop off the elevator, Elaine's telling a nurse that Kristen's just trying to get some attention and I'm not gonna play these games with her. We can hear Kristen screaming in this damn room as soon as they get off the elevator. Lord, oh my God, this girl got some pipes on her. A nurse tells the docs that they just had a susu attempt and give the name Kristen Parker. Who? Parker? She my cousin? Here we go. She's like, get away from me. Throwing shit across the room. Neil's trying to tell her they just want to help and play a game of pokey pokey. He grabs a needle to sedate her, but Kristen kicks him in the balls. So Max runs in, but Kristen slices him up. This is a mess. And Kristen backs up against the wall saying,
7, 8, better stay up late. 9, 10. Never sleep again.
that's how you make an entrance. Okay. One of the best OG final girls in the game, Miss Nancy Beat That Ass Thompson, enters the film, asking Kristen where she learned that nursery rhyme, successfully confiscating the scalpel, and Kristen jumps in her arms. Yeah, Neil, I'm looking at you talking about some, I don't want this little grad school scholar to come up in here. You better take notes, n***a. See, this the problem. It take a woman, it take one of the OGs to come up in here. Neil walks the campus with Nancy later, hipping her on all these kids having severe sleep disorders, insomnia, narcolepsy, bedwetting, but they all seem to share a group delusion, a boogeyman. And they're so traumatized that they'll do just about anything not to go to sleep. And Mama knows this story all too well. When Nancy tries to dip out, she accidentally drops her bag and Neil sees her prescription bottle of Hypnosil, which is a fictional drug that does not exist. It was made up for the film. Neil asks her what's up with that nursery rhyme, and Nancy just says that it's something to keep the boogeyman away. And when Neil turns around, a nun stands about 1,000 feet away from him in an all-white ensemble. And we don't know who this is yet, but after a few people pass, she's gone. Max gives Nancy a tour the next day, showing her her own office, and the first patient she meets is Philip, the sleepwalker. Philip's got a knack for creating sculptures made from what looks like clay and tape, I'm guessing. They're supposed to be carved out of wood, but like, you know, obviously they're not gonna give him a knife.
I might, you know.
Right. His roommate is Kincaid, who Max says is always thrown in the quiet room, so she probably won't see him a lot.
I do it so I don't have to look at your ugly face all the time.
I love you too.
There's this kid named Joey who's been eavesdropping before a nurse named Marcy hits her cart and Joey helps her pick up some towels. Yeah, this is exactly what you think it is. He's got a crush on this woman. It's the teardrop tattoo on his face for me. Nancy's talking with Elaine, trying to get more info about Kristen, and my God, her mother really is the worst. Elaine says her spawn specializes in strangeness, admitting that she spent thousands of dollars on psychiatrists.
Did she always have nightmares?
No, they've gotten worse since I took away her credit cards.
Nancy is about to cuss this girl out like, girl, I'm being serious and you up here playing. Elaine yells for her housemate, Teresa, who I'll bet a Benjamin is a colored woman, to grab a bag of Kristen's stuff she packed, but Nancy says she doesn't mind getting it. When Nancy enters Kristen's room, she clocks that damn Elm Street house, so yes, baby, it's getting very real. That night, Neil's on his chunky 1987 computer, looking up Hypnosil, and we learn it's an experimental drug for psychotic disorders to suppress dreams. Kristen's falling asleep while drawing a picture of the Elm Street house. Like, wow, you're begging to have a nightmare at this point. Why would you do that while in the bed about to go to sleep? Her bedroom door creaks open and a tricycle with no one on it comes rolling in with blood on the wheels. When she hops out the bed, it starts melting and crushing itself, and next thing we know, her bedroom turns into the front door of the Elm Street house and she's locked in. She enters this room where something comes moving all under the carpets, then the walls start bursting, lights are going crazy, son. This big slimy worm with Freddy's face scoops her little ass up and starts swallowing her whole body. Kristen starts screaming for Nancy, who's home asleep in a chair trying to get her beauty rest, and she immediately wakes up. We see Kristen's popsicle house came home with Nancy, and the diva falls out in her chair. We've got no choice but to activate final girl mode, so Nancy grabs a shard of glass and she stabs the creature in the eye. And Nancy's like, oh my fucking God, girl, run! They charge on the other side of the door and Nancy screams at Kristen to dream them out of here like some Shark Boy and Lava Girl shit. And when Nancy wakes, she's got a cut on her hand from the glass. The original Freddy snake that they used in the scene came out looking like BWC.
I don't know nothing about that lifestyle.
Jump scare. If you don't know what it is, look it up. I'm not going to translate it for you. Actually, I'm gonna correct myself. It's actually BPC.
I'm confused.
Because it was technically pink. Anyway, the crew had 1 hour to film the scene, so they didn't have time to paint it, and instead covered the worm in green goo to overcome the pinkish hue. It was also filmed backwards, and they played it in reverse because the gums on the puppet were too flexible and kept folding over itself. Nancy shows Kristen her popsicle house of horrors, and she shares that she used to live in this crib. And in this scene, we learned that when Kristen was a little Nina, she had the power to pull her father in her dreams whenever she was scared. But it stopped while she was still a kid. And then her parents got divorced, and for a while, she thought she just imagined it. So our second girl has powers, just like Nancy. Nancy lets the diva know the man of her dreams is real, and this is some real shit. So get ready to fight for your life. Group therapy is officially in session, and Dr. Sims wants only straight talk from these kids as they get acquainted with Nancy. So make sure y'all show some respect and act like y'all got some damn sense. We meet a kid named Will in a wheelchair who says that he's had a little accident. It's implied that that he jumped out of a window to, you know, commit susu, and he ended up in the wheelies. Taryn intrudes like, accident my ass. I thought you said this was straight talk.
At least he wasn't sticking needles in his arm with a bunch of lowlifes.
Oh my God. I thought this was a classy party.
Jennifer tells Nancy once she blows this joint, she's running to LA to be an actress.
I'm gonna be on TV.
Hold on to that. Joey used to be a debater in school, but Jennifer lets us know he doesn't talk much now. Taryn introduces herself, saying that the only reason she's here is because it's a better deal than juvie hall, and she's also going through some strange shit. Philip asks for a word, saying that all their dreams seem to be some type of group psychosis, a mellow mass hysteria, and the fact that they all dreamt about some guy that neither of them have met seems to not impress anybody. Dr. Sims tells Dr. Phil he's not gonna make any progress till he recognizes his dreams for what they are. And see, now I'm about to get pissed off. Nancy says, and what are they? You know, because since you got your degree and you fucking know everything. And this trick say,
The byproducts of guilt.
That is not correct.
Guilt. Dr. Sim says their dreams are psychological scars stemming from moral conflicts and overt sexuality. I'm so tired, child. I'm really tired. Joey, Will, and Taryn are all playing Dungeons and Dragons. We see Will is the wizard master, period, and he tries to get Taryn to say her perspective line of, "In the name of Lorek, Prince of Elves, demon be gone." Another line that will come back later. She dips, then Max swoops in, telling the boys it's nighty-night time. He puts Will in the bed, and right when he leaves, both of them sit up tripping about who's gonna go on first watch. I love first watch. I just had some avocado toast and pancakes the other morning. Will tells Joey, "One whimper and you'll wake me up." Neil takes Nancy out to a Thai food restaurant. Are they gonna f***? And she updates him on her lore. Mother passed away, her and Pop don't talk much, and she ever so slowly starts asking Neil how he feels about putting these kids on Hypnosil. Bro is like, "You want me to prescribe an experimental psychoactive drug to a bunch of susu teenagers? Dream deprivation is nothing to fool around with, Nancy. You shouldn't even be taking them your damn self." And Nancy's like, "I used to be like them, Neil. I know what they're going through." And he's like, "LOL, no, I'm not doing that." While Dr. Phil is asleep, one of his sculptures forms into Frederick's face, and the claws come to life, and he cuts himself down, growing to human size. Oh, hell no. He tells Philip, "Shh," ripping off the bed sheets. What's about to happen? I'm not gonna lie, I'm quite desensitized, but like, I don't know, something about this like always makes me like, ooh, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Fred cuts both of his arms and his legs on both sides, all the way down to his feet. And my God, we see the open wounds and like his organs just like fucking fly out of his skin, and he's like being controlled. It's a direct reference to him being a puppeteer. It's so nasty. Philip starts sleepwalking, and Kincaid can see him, telling Phil to wake up, but he's not even trying to help him. Like when Phil walks out the room, he just says, "Good night, asshole," or something. Like, Kincaid, do better. Do better. In the real world, Philip is sleepwalking, but in the dream world, he's being dragged by his organs. He walks through a door, and that's when Joey catches him. So he wakes Will, and they see Philip standing at the top of a tower with his hands out. Joey runs to get help, and Will grabs a lampshade, smashing the window, hollering, "Philip, no!" Joey's got to get creative since he is mute, and he snatches a nurse's dinner tray, runs down the main corridor, and bangs on every door he passes by. All the kids run to the window, screaming for Dr. Phil, and in the dream world, Frederick is this big ass Godzilla playing puppet master, and he slices Philip's organs, making him fall to his death.
Later, how much longer you gonna keep blowing smoke up our ass?
During group therapy, Neil's telling the children to get their feelings out in the open. Kincaid immediately says that Philip wasn't strong enough, so he wiped himself out. And Taryn's like, "Oh, well, how long are you gonna last, Black Dynamite?" Kincaid's like, "Longer than any of you suckers." Kristen tells him to go ahead and fight because that's exactly what this boogeyman wants, to turn them all against each other so that they can be weak prey. Nancy co-signs, and Dr. Sim says everyone is missing the point here. Philip's death was a sleepwalking accident, nothing more. Neil argues Philip's death was a susu. He quit, gave up, and that's a cowardly, empty thing. He let himself down. He let us all down. Taryn is like, "It was murder, you fucking Muppet? Can't you understand that? That bastard murdered him. Dr. Sims is not gonna listen to any more of these stories. She's like, how much longer are you going to go on blaming your dreams for your own weaknesses?
Later, how much longer you gonna keep blowing smoke up our ass?
That's enough, Kincaid.
Dr. Sim City says there's not going to be any more repeat occurrences, so from now on, all doors will be locked during sleeping hours, and they'll start an evening sedation policy for everybody.
The you will. Anybody tries drugs on me, get his ass kicked.
And okay, fight the power. Sims buzzes for the nurses, telling Kincaid, that's it, mister. You've earned yourself a night in the quiet room. Now sit down.
You sit down.
He's like, nobody gonna put me to sleep. Get away from me. I don't want to go to sleep. Nobody's gonna put me to sleep. Free Kincaid! Grandma says sedation begins tonight, starting with Cade, because these rascals need uninterrupted REM sleep to release all that negative energy. And get this, okay? Neil finally grows a pair, and he tells Dr. Sims that he's going to prescribe all the kids Hypnosil because these are his patients, and he wants these dreams stopped until they get some answers. Of course, she says she can't allow that, but Neil threatens to go straight to Carver, and he'll either back him up or accept his resignation. So she says, okay, Mr. Big White Man, but if something goes wrong, I'll make sure you're held responsible. Cade is in the quiet room whispering a song to himself, saying, ain't gonna dream no more. Meanwhile, Max comes in the lounge room where Jen's watching TV, telling her to take her tobacco ass to sleep. And the only reason he allows her to stay in there and watch TV is because she throws her nightmares in his face and, you know, Philip. A male nurse whom we saw walk away with Marcy earlier in the film waits outside the woman's bathroom for Taryn, telling her that he's got the keys to heaven, aka the dispensary. A clean pharmaceutical high at nightclub meth. Taryn is like, I don't do that shit anymore. So he grabs her arm like, oh yeah? What are these, beauty marks? And Taryn's like, no, you great value John Stamos. Those are ancient history. And he says, well, Sugar Plum, if you're ever in the mood for a history lesson, I'm your teacher.
Stay out of my face, or I'll go straight to Max.
Who's gonna take the word of a crazy junkie chick like you?
It's so unfortunate and disgusting because there are, I mean, wow, thousands and thousands of men in hospitals, in schools, boarding schools, mental institutions, foster systems across the world who are in places exactly like this. Something beautiful that came out of this character was when actress Jennifer Rubin revealed that multiple fans told her that her character Taryn had caused them to quit drugs. Oh my God, if I was her and somebody said that, I would bawl out crying right there. I ain't gonna lie. Jennifer finds a cigarette roach in an ash bowl, don't even know whose mouth has been on it, and she hits it a couple times before burning her hand. After switching the channel to a talk show where an actress is being interviewed.
Can I ask you something?
Certainly.
Who in the what you think?
Oh my. The TV glitches and we hear a distorted voice saying, this is your break, Jennifer. As the nursery rhyme distorts and she starts approaching the TV. Girl, if you don't get the f away from that TV. She tries to turn the dial and hits the box, but BAM! Two robot arms burst out the telly and lift her into the air. Freddy's head rises out the top and Frederick says, this is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV.
Welcome to prime time, bitch!
One for the books. That's history right there. This is also the first time he ever says bitch. Max comes back in the media room because of the noise, and oh wow, I imagine walking in a room and saying this. How do you even, how is that possible? At Jennifer's funeral, Neil watches from a distance when approached by that creamy nun. Whoa, I meant like cream as in it's cream white.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. This is Mary Helena. She works at the hospital time to time when needed. Neil says he wished he could have saved them, and Mary says only one thing can help the children. The unquiet spirit must be laid to rest. It is an abomination to God and to man. Girl, what you talking about? Nancy approaches, asking who he's talking to, and suddenly she's gone. Come on, Nancy, with this poncho. The adults have dinner with a little romantic fireplace, but the skinny King Neil couldn't finish his dinner. He notices a Malaysian doll on Nancy's mantle that she says is supposed to bring good dreams. Neil's venting about how he used to think he could do something for the kids and make a change in the world, but they're slipping through his fingers. Nothing makes sense. And Nancy hits that classic meme where people are like, I'm gonna hold your hand when I tell you this, suggesting that Neil might be ready for the truth, but she can only tell him if he's willing to put aside everything he's learned and trust the fish. During group, Nancy finally reveals that she knows who's trying to kill them. They think she's pulling their tennis balls at first, but when she says striped sweater and dirty hat, they all shut the hell up and sit forward. Yeah, y'all not the only ones. Okay, class is in session.
His name is Freddy Krueger.
Nancy gives them the rundown of the backstory, how 6 years ago, Frederick killed all her friends and her boyfriend. So of course the teens are like,
What'd I do?
but Nancy says it's not you, it's our parents that burned him alive, and now we're all paying for their sins.
You are the last of the Elm Street children.
Kristen is the key since she's got a dream gift of pulling people in. So let's play a little game. The blinds are closed and group hypnosis starts. Neil tells everybody to follow the pendulum with their eyes and tune out everything else. When he counts down backwards from 5, they will all be asleep. Everybody's eyes are closed, but then they wake, so, I guess the shit didn't even work. Neil tells them take 5, and Joey steps away trying to get water, but hears a cart squeak where Marcy's guiding him away. I don't like this already. She lures Joey into a bedroom saying she wanted to get him alone. When I get you alone. Marcy's admitting she likes him and makes up excuses every day to come see him because he's so cute. Girl, you are going to prison. Nancy tells Neil they should try one more time, but quickly finds out that they're inside a dream when these physics balls float into the air. This is when we start learning about everybody's dream power. Will can stand on his feet and hit the moonwalk. Okay, just kidding. No, he can actually stand up in the dream, but he'll moonwalk. And he's also the wizard master. He showcases his powers by turning a metal ball into a butterfly. Now, Kristen's power is doing a
front handspring, step out, round off, back handspring, step out, round off, back handspring, full twisting layout.
Okay, now you, Chris. I mean, okay, that was cute. Kincaid's power is super strength, and Terrence's power is being beautiful. Marcy takes her hair down, saying she could get in a lot of trouble for this. No kidding, Barbie doll. Prison time? But she knows Joey won't say anything, and he's nodding his head like, no, mommy. She's got her titties out and lays him down on the bed, giving some kissy-kissy. But the makeout turns aggressive. Her tongue meshes with his. What the f***? Joey tries to rip the tongue off, and Marcy starts spitting multiple tongues out, tying him up with all 4s. And when she gets off the bed, she's now turned into Frederick.
What's wrong, Joey? Feeling tongue-tied?
Frederick, I know you did not just make out with this teenage boy. The mattress underneath him drops and descends into hell, and my boy can't even scream because he's mute. All the lights in the therapy room start busting, the doorknob is red, rocks fall from the ceiling, all 4 walls around them start pushing in. Cade's trying to push the wall away, but it's too hot, and Neil's yelling for everybody to quiet down. The walls are closing in on you. What the hell you mean quiet down? If I'm gonna do one thing, I'm gonna scream. We're gonna die! The doorknob starts turning, but this time it's only Dr. Sims. Everybody's passed out, Joey's on the floor, and it's a code blue, which means the patient is in cardiac or respiratory arrest. So Joey's out for the count in a deep coma. We meet Dr. Carver, and Sims is being a snitch, saying that the session was unauthorized without her knowledge. Bitch. Carver is aware of Neil's Hypnosil prescription, so Nancy jumps in trying to defuse, but he cuts her off saying,
young lady, your opinion is of no interest to me.
I would have snatched him by his double chin, because who you talking to? This is not a game, boy. This is life and death. Carver says, according to Dr. Sims, Nancy's been creating panic among the patients. What? I don't know. They were already panicking. Were they not? They were already susu. In the last 4 days, there have been 2 susus, and now a young man is in a coma. So Carver's relieving both Neil and Nancy of their duties and wants them out of here today.
I'm sorry, Neil. I'm afraid you brought it on yourself.
You'll be sorry, you fools! You idiots!
So what the hell we gonna do now? Neil's saying there's nothing that they can do, and I beg to differ, because do you not know who you're talking to? You don't know who you're talking to? You are talking to, and this is post, she told him the whole lore of all of this. Like, he knows about Fred. You have the Nancy beat that supernatural ass Thompson on your side. Like, what you come on now. Damn, at least have a little bit of faith, you know? While Neil's coming out with this office box, he drops a folder, and I mean, of course, there's a photograph of him with both Philip and Jennifer, because what the hell, sure, emotional beat, I guess. Creamy Nun is staring down at him from the same window Dr. Phil leaped off into the void from. So bro breaks a door with a rock, running up this tower to reach the nun, who tells him the very room they stand in is where it began. The worst of the criminally insane were locked up like animals in this room, and a young girl in the staff was accidentally locked in during the holidays. The inmates kept her in here for days, and she was SA'd hundreds of times, and by the time they found her, she was barely alive and with child. That girl was Amanda Kruger.
Freddy, the bastard son of 100 maniacs.
So remember in the graveyard what Amanda told Neil about lying the body to rest?
Yes.
Well, Neil must find Fred's remains and bury him in hallowed ground. In the whip, Nancy and Neil brainstorm on who would know where Kruger's remains are. Good old Daddy-O. Kristen is screaming again about to shut this motherfucker down, okay? She's hollering, they can't take Nancy away because she's all we have. Sims tells her that she's a sick girl and must trust her now. Kristen smacks the shit out of Great Value John Stamos, throws an object at Sims, then the men grab her. Sims yells for the men to take her away to the quiet room and sedate her. I love this next line. Her scream is so good. We once again catch up and meet baby daddy John Saxon, still looking scrumptious. And he plays boozed up Donald Thompson. Nancy tells him Kruger is back, and this drunked out man is like, baby, that bald bitch is dead. When Neil tries to co-sign, Donald's like, Nancy, you got 2 seconds to get this chump cake out my face. But we need to know where Fred's bones are, daddy. And Donald's like, I'm through with this, no more. Even though homegirl says people are dying, and more than that, she's like, you owe me, daddy. He does not care, okay? Like the last thing he says to her is, it was nice to see you, princess. Next time, don't stay away too long. The kids page Neil, so he grabs the nearest telly where Taryn lets him know that Kristen's been drugged up and thrown in the quiet room. Neil tells Nancy to hit up the hospital and he'll figure out where the bones are. And as soon as she leaves, he goes back to Ronald Donald to formally introduce himself.
My name is Neil Gordon. Pleased to meet you. There now, we've met! Now listen to me!
Okay now, Neil, I didn't know you had it in you, but just, you know, get not too much. Get your hands off my man now. Neil doesn't know if he cares whether Nancy lives or dies, but he does. So the two of them are gonna go on a little scavenger hunt. Kristen is making rounds around the room, trying her best to stay awake, saying, please God, don't make me sleep. Yes, girl, you better call on him. Speak the tongues. Max won't let Nancy see Kristen, but he does allow her to say goodbye to the others who are all in the lounge room. Nancy tells the children to get ready for their last session just as the dads roll up to a junkyard. All the Elm Street parents knew the cops wouldn't find Kruger here, and he's deep in the heart of the yard. Nancy warns the warriors that this is the real deal, and if you die in your dreams, you die for real. Nobody has to go in if they don't want to. But come on now, you know everybody trained to go. Let's do this. Word.
Let's go kick the motherfucker's ass all over dreamland.
Yeah.
Nancy reminds them the only way they can beat this burnt trick is by staying together. So she lights the pendulum, simultaneously falling asleep with Kristen, and all of them appear in the quiet room with her. Nancy's like, girl, you knew I won't gonna leave you alone. We sisters. Not even 2 seconds later, Fred starts the fuckery, slashing the walls, and Nancy yells for everybody to stay in the middle of the room and stay together. Feathers start floating through the screen, and we find ourselves back at the beginning of the film. What the hell? This better not be how the film ends. Elaine comes in Kristen's room, making her get in the bed, and Chris gives her horrible mother a hug, saying she's glad she's home. Once again, we hear that man downstairs ask where the bourbon is. I told you to remember that.
I said, where's the bourbon?
Fred's holding her head out and Elaine's yelling at Kristen. She's like, God damn it, Kristen, every time I bring a man home, you spoil it. You know what your shrink says? Your shrink says you just want attention. Frederick starts slashing around, but you know, I don't think he got the right one. I'm sorry, all that happened so quick. This girl ninja walked on the wall, did a backflip, then Jason Voorhees dived out the window and then rolling down a flight of stairs. That's how you make an exit though. Kristen screams for Nancy and we feather fade to Taryn, who cuts a corner and finds herself in an alley. But the alleyway disappears, now inhibiting Brig with a big heart reading Taryn plus Freddy. He is so unserious. So the diva pulls out her switchblade, ready for war. A hobo in a trench coat and dirty hat get off the ground approaching her, but it's just a random white man. Freddy says, welcome home, Taryn. Look familiar? And that's when I would have popped him in the mouth. That's messed up. The shade.
Okay, asshole. Let's dance.
Thanks.
She ate. Freddy flicks his glove, swiping at her but missing. Then he catches her thigh. Terrence stabs him in his arm. He's like, wait a minute. Why should we fight? We're old friends, you and I, remember? His hands are suddenly syringes full of blue liquid. Oh, you're sick. Terrence got all these wounds pulsating on her arms, and Freddy jams them in her arms as all her veins run up her body. Originally, her head was supposed to explode after he shoots her up, but the crew thought that it looked too fake. We feather into Will, who's standing in a dirty hallway where there's a spiky wheelchair blocking one side, and on the other is Frederick saying, "You look tired, Will. Why don't you have a seat?" Oh. Oh my God, I can't. Will's like, no thanks, homie. I'm fine just the way I am. And Fred's like, for now, maybe. But when you wake up, it's back in the saddle again. The spiky wheelchair comes zooming down the hall, and Will takes off running, pushing himself up against the wall, but his legs get sliced. Again though, I think Frederick forgot who he messing with. Will is like, I am the wizard master. I am the wizard master! Jumping up looking like Harry Potter himself, but perhaps like a villain version, because his powers are green and he's got that cape fixture behind him. He's Harry Potter's evil twin. Anyway, he zaps the chair, making it explode. Look at Freddy gagged. He's like, but that's not possible. Will says, in the name of Lowrek, Prince of Elves, demon be gone! Zapping Kruger. But where he messed up was that, like, while he's like shooting his powers at him, he runs towards Frederick. Why would you do that? If you got the powers to reach him, Willie, why are you running up to? Because guess what happens? Frederick lifts his ass up and says,
"Sorry, kid. I don't believe in fairy tales."
I'm sorry, it's not funny, but it is. He says, psych. Side note, it's taking Donald and Neil a little too long to find these damn bones. Like, what's the holdup? What y'all doing? Kristen and Nancy meet up in a child's bedroom before the walls start cracking, but it's only Kincaid. Cade's hollering out, Freddy, where you hiding, you burnt-faced p***?
Think you hot shit with your little milk kid, don't you?
Almost immediately, this floating door appears behind them and opens. That's going to take them down a boiler dungeon. Neil and Donald, after 3 business days, find the vehicle where they put Kruger. Don's got to light a cigarette because the stress is coming back, and Neil uses a shovel to wedge open the hood of this red car, which of course it would be red. And inside, there's a big bag. The trio arrive in the boiler room lair, seeing Joey tied up, and Frederick comes around the corner, screeching his knives, and Nancy's like, let him go, shrimp dick!
Your wish is my command.
One by one, he undoes the tongue ties. Nancy runs down a pipe that Kincaid holds still, and she manages to grab Joey at the last second. But Kristen gets straight to work and turns on her ninja powers, leaping over him. Freddy smacks her in the face. Kincaid hits him with the pipe. Then Fred chokes Cade in the air. But Nancy picks up a different pipe and stabs him in the stomach. And at first he looks scared, but he starts laughing and pulls it out, licking it. I'm not gonna even comment. Nancy's like, he's never been this strong. And Fred says, well, yes, the souls of the children give me strength. He rips his sweater and reveals all the kids who have died so far screaming on his chest. When Neil and Donald take out the bag of bones, I guess Frederick started to feel it, so he teleports and drops Kincaid. The men are digging a hole when all the junk vehicles around them light up and start tweaking. Some tip over and end up fully trapping them inside the circle. Donald's in full panic mode, screaming at Neil to bury the fucking thing. But when Neil tries to grab the bag, the bones of Kruger snatch his wrist and pop out the bag in full form. It starts swiping at Neil, who's crawling on the ground. Like, if you don't get your ass up.
This is a skeleton, this is bones!
Donald takes away Kruger's attention and Daddy says, I killed you once before, you son of a bitch! Picking up a shovel and charging at this bag of bones, but Buddy misses, gets stabbed in the stomach, and Kruger picks him up, throwing him 20 feet where Donald gets stabbed through the chest. Neil tries to take a whack at him and just ends up getting sliced in the chest. Oh, pathetic. Frederick grabs the very shovel both of them failed to strike him with and hits Neil twice before attempting to bury him in the ground. But he only throws 4 scoops of dirt, then screams at the sky like King Kong and drops. The Dream Warriors are now walking through this hall of mirrors when Freddy appears at the end of it saying, sorry to keep you waiting, Buddha. Perhaps if there was more of Daddy to spread around. Then this man starts appearing on every single mirror around them. Joey corners himself panicking, Nancy's snatched up, Kristen's pulled, Cade's yanked, and right after they all booty hole swoop inside the mirrors, Joey gets up and this makes all the mirrors shatter.
Did I say that?
Joey has found his dream power. He found his voice. Nancy's about to piss me off saying, oh my God, it's over. Like, how? You should know better. How many times do I need to tell y'all? This is my biggest pet peeve in horror films. Stop saying that. Because guess what? It's not over. It never is. Donald comes floating down in these star sparkles, telling Princess that he's crossed over and couldn't go without telling her how sorry he is for all he's done. Man, I knew from the ripe age of 7 that this was a trick. Silly ass, goofy ass rabbit. Nancy says, I'll always love you, and she hugs him. What do I even say to this, right? Oh, we really went there. Freddy yanks his knives out of Nancy's stomach, closes the door, locking Kate and Joey out, and Kristen tries to run up on him and give him the fade, but he swipes her across the face and says, you're mine now, little piggy. But Nancy gets up and stabs Krueger with his own glove. Neil climbs out the grave he dug himself and throws Krueger's bones in the hole, saying, please God, for the children, for Nancy. He opens the holy water and says, ashes to ashes.
Dust to side chicks.
Freddy's body starts popping holes of light, spinning his way into a sparkle. Then he's gone. Kristen's holding Nancy, saying, I won't let you die. I won't let you. All the remaining Elm Street children are at Nancy's funeral, and Neil starts feeling that creamy nun lurking in the background. So he runs after her, but she's already gone. And what do you know? The grave of Amanda Krueger, Sister Mary Helena. That night, Neil is sleeping, and we see he kept Nancy's Malaysian doll, which is sitting on the table right next to Kristen's Elm Street house. Why would you sleep next to that? Go off, I guess. Anyway, the popsicle house lights up, and we cut to black. While the first 2 Elm Street films treat dreams as a place of vulnerability, it's Dream Warriors that turns the subconscious into a battlefield where our characters have the ability to fight back, not just mentally, but physically. And this is a reclamation of agency. These teens are literal warriors. These dream powers each of them possess serve as metaphors for self-actualization. Everyone uses part of their personality and identity, the portion that they are bullied for or feel weak in real life, and they weaponize it. Mind over matter and full throttle. But everybody's power comes with not only an external ability in the dream, but it's an internal, thematic one as well. Kristen has the power to pull people in her dreams. She calls on those for help in times of danger, and she also has agility and ninja skills. Like, damn, I wish I could walk off the wall like that. Word. Kincaid's anger and him constantly being overpowered and thrown in solitary confinement is flipped within the dream world. He possesses the popular superhuman strength and can whoop anybody's ass. Joey's power is a sonic scream that can shatter things, and they say outright what his theme is. He found his voice. Will's power stems from his RPG character, the Wizard Master, and with that comes the ability to stand tall and walk despite his wheelchair in reality. Taryn's power is confidence. In the real world, she's neurotic, on edge from withdrawals of her drug use, but in Dreamland, she's whipping out switchblades and decked out in punk rock glam.
If you want to know what I think that I am, I think that I'm just a rock chick.
Philip dies before everyone fully develops their abilities, but it's safe to say with him being a puppeteer, he would have had some ability to control objects or people like puppets with strings and such. The same goes for Jennifer. Her character loved television, so perhaps her powers would have had to do with electricity, or maybe since she wanted to be a TV actress, she could become a different person. Maybe her power would have been shape-shifting. Now, do you remember Nancy's dream power? We learned it in the first film.
I brought something out from my dream.
Nancy has the ability to pull objects and people, like Fred himself, out of the dream world and into reality. Sticking to the theme of reclaiming agency, Nancy Thompson went from victimhood to survivorhood.
I used to be like them, Neil. I know what they're going through.
She was a teenager just like these kids, suffering her own nightmares. She had to find out how to beat Freddy, and not only did she do it, but she did it alone. She still is a final girl at her core, but in this film specifically, she has leveled up and became a mentor. It's beautiful. Should we consider Nancy as a failed final girl though? I mean, she's not defeated because she's weak, but perhaps because of her hopefulness. It's her death that reframes this movie from empowerment to inevitability. Just a thought. She's the bridge between generations. She has a faith in rules, and Frederick doesn't like that. But above all, I think that this is what Wes was going for. More of a passing of the torch, and how this role is a doomed necessity. I promise I won't keep doing a back and forth comparison because we're talking specifically about the third installment, but this separation from treating dreams as a tool versus dreams being some type of trap is very loud here. Why this is a fan favorite is because it shows a group of kids with different personalities struggling and fighting against not only adults but this boogeyman. There are even promotional pics poking fun at the Breakfast Club of it all. They understood what they were making, but I personally see this as its own thing. Now, whether you see this as an actual empowerment, in their abilities as something that is genuine, or hey, just another illusion that Freddy allows, it's up to you. Like, I don't know, maybe he allowed them to have their powers, and he was like, oh, I'll let you have fun for a little bit. What's tragic about it is that self-actualization doesn't necessarily guarantee survival here. Look at what happened to Will and Taryn. Or, okay, take the control out of Fred. And let me say this too as a side note, as somebody who heavily believes in the power of the mind and how if your mentality is crumbling, then everything else will follow in line like a domino. What if these powers are just denial? Is believing in yourself enough in this supernatural system designed to kill you? Dream Warriors, I would say, is the most hopeful of these films, yet still just as cruel. It offers the strongest sense of unity and power, but still kills half the cast anyway. Community is just a temporary shelter, not salvation, my friends. At least some of them got to grow before dying, though. Well, some of them. What do you think? Is this the most optimistic Elm Street or the most devastating? Does horror hit harder when it lets you believe first? At the end of the day, we all need hope, okay? We need a little something, because if you ain't got hope, then girl, what the hell we gonna do, right? What the hell we gonna do? That's manifestation. Our setting of Weston Hill Psychiatric Hospital provides a sharp critique of how adult institutions handle youth crises. It's this very mental institution that mirrors Freddy's control. It denies the teens reality and strips them of free will. With the exception of Nancy and Neil, the adults are all trying to explain away these terrors and feelings instead of confronting it. And how sad that the mentor, Nancy, the main one who is 10 toes down, had to pay for it. The most realistic aspect of this story that's still relevant in the big old 2026 is this conflict between teens and parents. They're constantly gaslit, their damages are dismissed, but specifically dismissed as group psychosis or a want for attention. Back then, the accused was the rock music, the television, MTV, and today what is it? Social media. Kids are getting diagnosed with depression and anxiety, comparing themselves to others, cyberbullying. It's an entire shrine of mess happening. The internet is a completely different beast. But what if we look at this through the lens of something passed down, intergenerational? All the Elm Street parents burning Fred was their original sin. It's what created the monster. But it's the refusal to acknowledge the truth that's keeping this monster alive. The Dream Warriors make progress and succeed temporarily, if we take in the other films, only when they stop looking to the proper authorities for help and instead form their own founding family. Fred can be viewed as the anti-parent, the dark mentor. Yes, his dark humor develops here, but he's still pretty goddamn evil. The way he kills these kids, specifically using their passions, dreams, and aspirations against them. The TV head with Jennifer, the aspiring actress.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV.
Philip with puppets. He could have had a great artistic career. Will was killed while dressing as his favorite D&D character.
Sorry, kid. I don't believe in fairy tales.
Loki, he's that toxic parent that, doesn't allow their kids to strive for their dreams. He is a perversion of a parental figure. And I mean that in both definitions, the original and the sexual behavior kind. Just look at the Joey instance where he shapeshifts as Nurse Marcy and makes out with this teenager. Where someone like Nancy encourages the teens to find their strength, Freddy finds their deepest insecurities and mocks them. The trademark of not just this movie but this franchise is its creative death sequences. But let's also admire the set pieces. The physical environments in the dream world are not just reflections of Fred's history, but the kids and victims' mental states. The Elm Street trap house is infinite inside. We constantly come back to it. It's the infrastructure. And within the rooms are endless settings dependent on the dreamer. Spatial storytelling is when physical space, location, or environmental elements are used as narrative framework to create meaning, blending physical and imaginary worlds to immerse the audience. The boiler room, Fred's hangout spot when he was alive, was only right to be his evil lair in the dream world. The junkyard climax with Neil and Donald symbolizes the need to bury, literally, the past to continue moving forward. Wes Craven's original premise of this installment involved Freddy invading the real world and haunting the actors and crew responsible for the Elm Street films, which was an idea inspired by a film called Return to Har High from 1987. But it was rejected by the studio for being too ambitious, and yet Craven was later able to use it for New Nightmare in 1994. While part 2 on a design level is my favorite makeup look from Kruegi, part 3 is a runner-up. I think when you say Freddy Krueger, this is the one that most people think of, either this version or part 4, because part 4 was arguably the peak of his popularity. But as I nodded to, Dream Warriors was that first glimpse into the future. It perfectly blends him still being evil, but with dabs of the fun one-liner. His inner showman was peeking through, y'all. I want to say humor dilutes Freddy, but I don't think I can. I love his sick humor. It goes off the rocker, as the films go on, obviously, but I think that when there is a balance, it works. Should the audience be rooting for this serial murderer and child predator? Well, no, but they do. And that's saying more about us as people. Frederick is a goddamn entertainer feeding off of attention. So when does the fear turn into consumption? I think a lot of people would say when Fred started upping the jokes is when he stopped being scary. Or was he too scary so the audience gassed up and leaned into the comedy to not be so terrified? I know we have to blame the filmmakers, but maybe they listened to the audience as the films went on and they saw that people enjoyed the pop culture icon of it all, so they continued down the camp route. Ultimately, Dream Warriors isn't really about beating Freddy. It's about these kids learning who they are, before he kills them. We slowly but surely rile up to this badass Power Rangers team, and some of them make it out and others get stabbed up like a Christmas ham. But as Frank Sinatra said, that's life.
Right.
The turmoil passed down from the parents is turned into a spectacle with this installment, and that very contradiction defines this franchise. These teens use their weaknesses, they use their trauma as the blueprint for their power. Most slashers are about running until you're the last one left, but Dream Warriors is about standing on business until the monster realizes he's outnumbered in his own house. Yo, popping in before we roll the outro, just to let you know that I have, in case you didn't know, I've officially launched my Patreon, and I actually this was the last video that I filmed before I decided to make one. Bro, I think I'm already over 1,000 patrons. What the You guys are crazy, bro. Thank you so much. I'm very excited about this. I'll say it again. I'm always going to say it. Thank you to everybody who has joined it so far, showed the love, showed the support on my venting video where I was just bitching about, YouTube, the people who pay me. Anyway, if you want to see the director's cut version of the Dream Warriors video, this is the video you're watching right now, head over to the Patreon. It's $5 a month. You get extended commentary, fully uncensored, sailor mouth, blood, all that. And you also get to see my videos 24 to 48 hours before they hit YouTube. Absolutely no pressure. Just wanted to throw that in there for you who maybe want to see me yap a little bit more. And yeah, I think that's it. So bye. What do you think about A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors? What would your dream power be? Let's trauma dump in the comments, y'all. If you enjoyed this video, give your man a like. It helps me out a lot. If you're not already subscribed, I would love to have you. And make sure you turn on the bell so you don't miss a new upload. In the meantime, my dream warriors, take care of your mind, take care of your body, and take care of your spirit.